you might have already seen this tier list, actually. It is ranking all the Assassin's Creed games, and actually, yes, it has already been done, but I rewatched a video recently. I was looking through my ranking series that I did on the ones that I uploaded onto YouTube, and this one, first of all, I didn't really go at it the way that I wanted to, and also there was like a glitch with my mic at the end of it, and I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But anyways, guys, we are going to get right into, as soon as I get my laptop charger, ranking every single Assassin's Creed game from 1 through the Valhalla. And we're going to execute it the way I want it executed, compared to how I had it previously. So, first but not least, we will have Assassin's Creed 1. I'm going to put Assassin's Creed 1 in good. Now, Assassin's Creed 1 isn't exactly God tier, but I can't put it in anything lower than good or God tier. I love replaying. The replay value of Assassin's Creed 1 is awesome for story purposes. But when it comes to gameplay, obviously, I can't bash on Assassin's Creed 1 for gameplay because it was the very first Assassin's Creed. It introduced us into, everything that we know and love today was introduced right here in the first ever game. Obviously, the story aspects show Altair Ibn Lahad as he is being as an assassin. He was a very high-ranking assassin up until he was demoted all the way back down to like a protege, basically, like the worst of the worst rank because of his ego gets to him, and so Al-Malim demotes him and takes everything from him, and he has to slowly, throughout the game, progress and earn all of his rankings back and prove himself. And in the end, we find out that Al-Malim, the headmaster of the Assassin Brotherhood, is the true villain because he has worked with the Templars secretly to get himself the Apple of Eden, and now he has it. And yeah, so we end up, obviously, spoiler alert, killing Al-Malim in the end, and Altair eventually becomes the new headmaster, as we learn in the future. So, yeah, that's a spoiler alert for every game, obviously. I'm ranking every Assassin's Creed, so we're going to be talking about the stories. Alright, up next we have Assassin's Creed 2, which we are going to put in God tier. One of my favorite Assassin's Creeds. We have the story taking place in the beautiful Florence, Italy, where Ezio Auditore is our main assassin protagonist, and his story, especially throughout the entire trilogy, is amazing. However, in Assassin's Creed 2, like, it's my favorite because we more so get to watch Ezio grow from a young adult into a man. He is shaped into the man that he is in Brotherhood and Revelations. But at first, Ezio is younger, and his family is killed by the Templars, and his family apparently had or his father and two brothers were killed. His mother and sister were left alive, but his father had basically gone on trial for being an assassin, and the Templars killed him. Because the Templar later was Rodrigo Borgia, one of my favorite antagonists in the Assassin's Creed series. I don't think anybody will ever be able to best Rodrigo Borgia. He managed everything he did, specifically in Assassin's Creed 2, because in Brotherhood he wasn't all that big. But just in Assassin's Creed 2 alone, Rodrigo Borgia was the most badass Templar Grandmaster that we've ever seen. And I don't think we're going to get a better one. I mean, we could, but, I mean, Rodrigo, everything he does is under the shadows. He's got this whole Templar order, and nobody knows who this man is. He becomes the Pope, and basically he's untouchable. And he ends up getting the Staff of Eden, trying to open the vault, along with the apple and the staff. However, because he believes he's the prophet to open the vault. However, it turns out that Ezio is the prophet because obviously he's of the bloodline of Desmond Miles and Altair ibn Alahad. So Ezio ends up battling Rodrigo and lets him live in the end. He had the chance to kill Rodrigo, but he didn't. He said, "Let him live. He's got basically nothing left to live for," which is clearly wrong, as we learn. So up next, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. We're gonna put Assassin's Creed Brotherhood right here. Um, for story purposes, again, kind of like Assassin's Creed 1. I mean, both of the stories, Brotherhood and Revelations, are shorter, obviously, than a main story. But Brotherhood is one of my favorites just because we still get to see Ezio grow as a man. His uncle this time is killed at the very beginning by Cesare Borgia, the son of Rodrigo. And we see Cesare is not as wise as his father was in Assassin's Creed 2. We more so see that he is more of a violent type, just aggressive, just war, war, war. He wants control, he wants the apple, and he wants the staff, and he wants to be the most powerful Templar Grandmaster. He even kills his own father with a poisoned apple just so that he can take over the Borgia, the Templars, and so that he could have the apple and staff for himself, or at least the staff. He wants the staff for himself. And in the end, he threatens that no man could ever murder him, and so Ezio throws him over the bridge that they are fighting on, and Ezio ends up killing him. We see, obviously, Ezio grow the new Assassin Brotherhood more throughout the game Brotherhood, and I think it's iconic, and I kind of want a story more driven like that again, where we see a Brotherhood being built up and created by the character that we play as, which we don't get a lot of anymore past, really, Assassin's Creed 3. So next we have Assassin's Creed Revelations. Now, I'm going to put it in front of Brotherhood because from a story aspect and just the overall game itself, I enjoyed Revelations a lot more than Brotherhood. Yes, Brotherhood, like I said, I gave my reasons why I love Brotherhood, but Revelations takes us into deeper backstory of Altair and his adventures after Assassin's Creed 1. We got the game Altair's Chronicles, which came out, which happens before Assassin's Creed 1, and Revelations shows us Altair's journey in which he's trying to study the apple and learn more about it, and he's got these struggles of the assassins not trusting him for killing Al-Malim because not all of them believe that Al-Malim was the antagonist that Altair put him out to be. They think that Altair killed Al-Malim because of what Al-Malim had done at the beginning of Assassin's Creed 1, which isn't the case, but some of the assassins believe that is what Altair killed Al-Malim for. And anyways, we go through and we learn a lot more about Altair, and in the end, and at first, I didn't like the ending to Revelations, but I kind of understood it. After he travels and learns all of Altair did with the apple, Ezio finally finds the apple and decides to leave it to rest. Like, on his entire adventure. At first I hated it because I was like, well, we came this far. For 3 games, we hunted this one apple that Altair had. And now the adventure's over before Ezio even gets the chance to do anything. And I come to realize that after learning that in his lifetime, Altair spent his entire lifetime after Assassin's Creed 1 studying everything, trying to learn everything he could about the apple and got nowhere. And Ezio knew that with technology not being as powerful, as it is in the modern day, back in the 15th century, Ezio knew that he wasn't the one to study the apple and learn his power because Altair couldn't even. And through special movies, we see the end of Ezio Auditoria de Firenze, and he meets a good demise. Well, not a demise, he doesn't get killed, but he does meet his true passing. But yeah, the entire Ezio trilogy is just iconic, and I don't think we'll ever get Assassin's Creed like them ever again, but That is my opinion on the entire Ezio collection. So next we have Assassin's Creed 3, which I'm going to put in good, right above Assassin's Creed 1. So, the other three games, like I said, iconic and nostalgic and very good stories, but Assassin's Creed 3 comes out on top. Just story wise. We're bent between the beginning in which we play as Haytham Kenway, and then we get to play as his son Connor, so we get a little bit of a backstory on both characters. Honestly, I like Haytham more than I like Connor. I mean, from a standpoint, I know Haytham's a Templar, and not everybody likes the Templars, and I'm not a big fan of the Templars either. Thing is, Haytham and Connor want the same thing, the exact same thing. They both want George Washington dead. Connor doesn't know this yet, but they both want the same thing. The only difference is the bat is the symbol they wear and what they stand for. It's the Templars and the Assassins, and entire story is great. Connor's story kind of is the downfall because it's kind of stupid once you think about it. Once you learn that George Washington is behind everything that's happened to Connor, and Connor is freaking out and trying to kill Charles Lee the whole time and take out every Templar and kill his own father, we learn that it was truly George Washington who was behind everything, the burning of his village and all that. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Liberation, which I'm going to put in decent, actually. Very compelling story. I like that it crossed, it took place during the events of AC3. We play as Aveline de Grandpré, who is her own assassin, and she ends up meeting Connor and working with Connor in colonial America. It's a very compelling story, but it's just for a DLC story compared to Brotherhood and Revelations and the games I've already gone over. Liberation is kind of the downfall of everything. It's not as good as the other ones. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I'm going to put this one in God tier as well. Not better than Assassin's Creed 2, but another very iconic and nostalgic story. For once, we are turned from just assassins, and we are turned to the life of the golden age of piracy, in which we play as a pirate, Edward Kenway. And Edward Kenway, being a pirate, he promised his wife that he would return after a year or two of piracy, and they will be rich. And obviously this isn't the case. Edward has not found the riches that he wants to go home with, and so he continues his life. And he ends up actually helping the assassins more than he believes. He didn't even care to help the assassins, but some steps that he took were helping the assassins as much as they were benefiting him. And eventually, he is convinced that that he should be a part of the Assassin Brotherhood needed to end, and finally he's accepted into the Assassins, and everything is history from there. Edward manages to kill Bartholomew Roberts, who has the worst of the pieces of Eden in my opinion, which are the skulls, the seeing pillar things that allow you to basically foresee things. They're probably the stupidest pieces of Eden in my opinion, one of the stupidest at least. But other than that, I love Edward Kenway as a story, as a character. And I love the Black Flag story, and the free roam and free play of Assassin's Creed is just as good. Island to island, finding treasures, upgrading your ship. It's just iconic, which I think leads to the next game, which will be Rogue, but after we cover, next is Freedom Cry, which I'm going to put in right here I'm going to put it right in front of Brotherhood. Fate of a Brotherhood, again, good story, and what I enjoyed is, watching Connor grow this Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. However, what the downfall is kind of the antagonist side. Lack of interest in the antagonist kind of brings it to a lack of interest in the game. Freedom Cry is about Adewale, as we play as Adewale in his adventures after he leaves Edward Kenway. As we know, Edward becomes greed and blind by his greed, And Adewale decides to leave because he's working for the Assassins as well, so he goes off on his own adventures. And playing as Adewale, again, it's no longer than the game Liberation, this DLC, but it does a lot more that I enjoy for an Assassin's Creed game than Liberation did. Playing as Adewale, and just the missions are compelling and iconic. I keep saying that for every game, but I just can't not say it for the most part until we can't. So next up we have Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I'm going to put in okay as well at the top of good, I should say. And of all the stories that we've already covered, Rogue is probably my favorite good story so far, at least. So Rogue, it follows the story of Shay Cormac. This is during the 7 Years' War. The events take place after Black Flag and before Assassin's Creed 3, in which Shay Cormac was actually part of Achilles Davenport's Brotherhood, Assassin Brotherhood, but he leaves because Achilles keeps hunting these precursors which are destroying these areas that they are located in. They're just basically grenades, like bombs, waiting to be touched, and then they explode and destroy everything around them. And Shay leaves because the assassins refuse to stop hunting them until they find the real one, which doesn't even exist. And so Shay becomes a Templar, and he works with Haytham Kenway of all people, and it's a very great story. I feel like a lot of people that dislike Rogue just came off of Black Flag and had to do with the same thing again, but in a smaller game. And so Rogue does it for me. I know we play as a Templar, but actually playing the story, like, I didn't think I would like Rogue myself. I didn't like it when I first played it on the PlayStation 3. I had just come off of Black Flag, and that was a very good story. I didn't want to start again. And I didn't like the story at all. I didn't like the idea of it. But then I played it again actually like a year or so ago, and I realized I had missed out and made a mistake on doubting Rogue so quickly in my younger years. Because Rogue did it for me. The entire story, everything about it. I mean, again, it's not Black Flag, but it's got a really good story, and it ties together, the gap in between Black Flag and 3, and it gives us, a great backstory to Achilles Davenport. Up next, we have Assassin's Creed Unity, which I'm going to put in okay. Our first okay game is Assassin's Creed Unity. The problem with Assassin's Creed Unity is the game mechanics. They're very broken in this game. The story was half decent. You have Arnold Dornian, the son of Charles Dornian, who was actually killed by Shay Cormac, which Arnold does not know nor care about. The story follows Arnold, his adoptive father, Dalacher. He is killed by his own Templars. He's the Grand Master of the Templars. They have a truce in France with the Assassins. They have a treaty together, and the antagonist, I can't remember his name ever for the life of me. That's how much I paid attention to this game. I played it all of once. Germain. Francois Germain, yeah, so Germain. Germain believes he's a prophet and he's to find the Sword of Eden, which Dalacer had no interest in, and so Germain has Dalacer killed, and then his friend becomes the new Grand Master, and then he gets killed, and eventually Germain becomes the new leader. He breaks the treaty with the Assassins, and he goes and hunts down this Sword of Eden, which is actually a fairly decent one next to the staff and the apple. It's actually a fairly decent weapon that was used in a boss fight against us. Not the greatest boss fight, with not the greatest games. Like I said, decent story for what it was, but it doesn't compare to every other game that we have in good and God tier. So next we have probably the downfall of the Assassin's Creed games, and then the uprising of the Assassin's Creed games, I guess, because next we have the worst Assassin's Creed game in history, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Garbage. Hate it. There's nothing I like about Assassin's Creed Syndicate that does it for me. The characters, garbage. I don't like Jacob or Evie Fry. Their story just kind of is out there. Um, they made Evie the more of an assassin type, where they made Evie more of an Altair or slash Ezio, where they're more wise, and they made Jacob more of an Edward who just goes off and does whatever he feels like it and doesn't care. Kind of like Arno does in Unity, because Arno goes off and decides that he is going to work with Elise Delasare, who is the daughter of Delasare and obviously a Templar, and he begins ignoring the assassins, and they eventually ban him from the temple until he kills your man and is redeemed. But nothing about Syndicate is interesting. Crawford Starrick is the main antagonist, and he's just a Templar Grandmaster in London who is hunting these Shrouds of Eden, which are by far the worst pieces of Eden we've ever seen. Again, next to the ones from Black Flag, Syndicate does nothing for me. The story, I guess, the story is okay. I mean, if people actually enjoy Syndicate, kudos to you, because I'm not a fan myself. So Origins takes us all back to before Assassin's Creed 1, and basically saved Assassin's Creed, for the most part at least. And I'm going to put Assassin's Creed Origins, from my gameplay standpoint, right here. It's a good game. Just because it's a bigger game doesn't make it better than all these other games. It just happens to be better than Brotherhood. But Bayek, very interesting character. Both Bayek and Aya are very interesting characters. Very good story, actually, for an origin story. We are introduced to the Hidden Ones, which are the first generation assassins, basically, and Bayek creates the first Creed, basically, and they're not even called assassins yet. They're the Hidden Ones, and they are fighting the. I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. It's been so long since I've played any of these games, actually. Order of the Ancients, that's right. The Order of the Ancients are the OG Templars. And basically, Bayek's son is killed by the Order of the Ancients, and so Bayek is on this hunt to hunt them all down and kill them, the ones responsible for the death of his son. And so that is the origin story of Bayek, and he ends up, gathering these people and creating the Hidden Ones, which is the first ever Assassin's Creed. So next up, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I'm going to put in okay. I'm a big fan of both Greek and Norse mythology, more so Greek. I don't really know at all about Norse, but I can't put Odyssey in God tier, and I can't exactly put it in good, sadly. I'm actually going to put it in front of Mooney. It's an okay game. Odyssey, for Greek lovers, I mean, good story. You're not even an assassin, by the way. In Odyssey, you are a you're a Spartan or an Athens, and you are the Greek hero. In Odyssey, Cassandra, as she is canon, and Deimos, which is the leader of the cult of Cosmos, is her brother. And the entire story is decent. I mean, you got all the DLC, which adds in and makes it a little bit more better. You have the Cyclops missions that you can do. You have the Atlantis missions with Poseidon. You got Hades in the Underworld. You got all this different stuff that is included in Odyssey for all your Greek fun. But I gotta put it in the top of okay. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Norse mythology. The main character is actually connected to Odin, the god, the Norse god, father of Thor, and adoptive father of Loki. And the whole story follows, Vikings in Norse mythology, and it turns out that the whole time that you were connected to Odin, and you got to figure it out. And the Dawn of Ragnarok DLC actually looks very interesting compared to what we got from Valhalla. The main story is alright, and we're gonna put it actually right here. Good. Very interesting story actually. Sadly, I gotta put it above Origins for all you Origins lovers. I do apologize for all my Origins lovers. These three games, it all depends on, what kind of a fan you are, whether you're next gen or new generation fans or OG fans, but Valhalla and Origins are my favorite compared to Odyssey because you're not really even an assassin. That doesn't even do it for me. It's just lack of interest in the game itself. But I mean, for the most part, it's got a good story. But compared to again every other game in front of it, it's not that good. And so yeah, that is my tier list for ranking all the Assassin's Creed games. Hopefully this time the stream ends up better than the last one, and this will be uploaded to YouTube shortly after the stream is done. Also, for all my Call of Duty fans, we're going to be going live tonight on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019's campaign. We're going to play the next few missions in the campaign and continue that. I haven't done that in about a week or so now, and so we're going to be doing that. Also, I wanted to show you guys my new schedule here on stream for you guys, and for the video when it goes up on YouTube as well, so that everybody understands and gets to see it. So, Monday is officially LEGO Star Wars, and a random should be put in there, but that's what that's supposed to be, is another random, like, on Tuesdays and Sundays. So we're going to be playing LEGO Star Wars later tonight, and we're also going to be playing some Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which we're going to do first, actually, because I'm really pumped to play some more Modern Warfare, because we keep getting information about Modern Warfare 2 2022, and I am pumped for the story and the multiplayer to do well. I'm not a big Warzone player, so I can't say about Warzone. So Tuesdays will be Shadow of War and another random. That could be GTA 5, that could be LEGO Star Wars, that could be Call of Duty. I'm not entirely sure. It'll be announced probably when I make my Shadow of War episode, but last week is when I introduced the official schedule, and this week is where I'm actually pushing it. I'm pushing my own content creation to actually follow this schedule, so I'm playing a lot of games right now on the channel, and I'm trying to even it out so that we're evenly playing each story, and eventually once we beat one game, it'll be knocked out and something else will be put in its place. So for Star Wars, for example, because we only have Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, 5 games left, 4 or 5 games left for LEGO Star Wars, sadly. But yeah, Tuesdays will be Shadow of War episode, and then random Wednesday will be focused on LEGO Star Wars and Call of Duty. Now, I don't essentially know what for Call of Duty I want to be playing on these dates when I say Call of Duty, so that's why it's just Call of Duty. It could be campaign, it could be multiplayer, and it could be zombies like we did just the other day out of the blue. I am a player of all 3 of them, so I'm going to be trying to even in and out and playing each and every game mode. Right now, it's focused on Modern Warfare for tonight, which I'm going to probably do around 10 or so Atlantic time. We'll be doing Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, so be on the lookout for that. But then Thursday will be another Shadow of War and my next GTA Online episode. So we will be doing episode 30 of GTA Online's starting from rank 1. The last one got cut short. I had some technical difficulties. My Wi-Fi went out, but we're back. We've been back, but the Wi-Fi at the time went out, so I couldn't finish the episode. So we're going to be grinding more GTA on Thursday, and then Friday is another Shadow of War and LEGO Star Wars. So again, we'll be continuing both of those stories. Saturday is another LEGO Star Wars because Liam will be home, so he'll probably want to jump into some co-op LEGO Star Wars. And finally, Sunday is GTA 5 and random. Again, I could play LEGO Star Wars, Call of Duty, or Shadow of War, or something else random, but I'm trying to keep it in between these games that I'm playing here as my main schedule. So, anyways, guys, that has been it for me in ranking every single Assassin's Creed game. I hope you all enjoy. I will see you all later tonight. Peace out.